Let's say you meet someone with an unusual name. Then suddenly you encounter that name repeatedly in various contexts, in the news, in the movies, or in social media posts. Before meeting this person, it seems like you never even heard of this name, but now it's popping up everywhere. This is not a coincidence. It's called the Pattern-Meinhof phenomenon, also known as the frequency illusion. Frequency illusion occurs when something recently learned or noticed suddenly seems to appear with high frequency. Our minds latch onto patterns, sparking a deeper cognitive process called pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is the way in which we identify and make sense of regularities in our earthly experiences. Not only our personal ones, but also identifying recurring themes in literature, history, or art. This ability allows us to make sense of the world. Without it, the whole world would constantly remain a mystery, as we'd be living in a kind of Groundhog Day, where everything we encounter would appear completely new over and over and over again. Sounds like being born, doesn't it? If you ask people who believe in rebirth, they will eagerly confirm that each new life can be like a Groundhog Day. In this video, we will explore how one can tailor this constant brain process to their personal will. Patterns are observations organized into meaningful categories by the observer. When you start seeking patterns in the world, you start to inhale chaos and exhale order. And that builds confidence and a feeling of control. We don't need to do anything. With its network of neurons and synapses, the human brain is already a master at pattern recognition. The visual cortex is doing all the job, processing and interpreting patterns from sensory input. What is important is that we consciously become aware which patterns we want to see more in our life. Here is when it gets really interesting. The country and the culture in which you live plays a big part in the way you perceive and recognize patterns. Studies have shown that people from Eastern cultures tend to focus more on contextual information, whereas those from Western cultures prioritize object-focused details. But what does it mean exactly? For Eastern cultures, the patterns lay in the background. Relationships of things to things, situational factors. There is a focus on the spaces between words, the silence that carries meaning, and the subtle connections that are not immediately obvious. It's about feeling the essence and understanding the unsaid. Kuki wo yumu is a Japanese phrase for reading the air. The equivalent translation in English is reading the room or reading between the lines. It is a common practice in Japanese society anywhere at any time. If you can't do it, you will be labeled as kiwai, which means somebody who can't take a hint. Now, Western cultures are precision cultures. It's all about prioritizing object-focused details, such as specific facts, individual actions, and tangible outcomes. Communication tends to be more direct and explicit, with an emphasis on clarity and precision. People that grew up in these countries may prefer explicit instructions and clear goals. Western scientific approach is centered around identifying patterns through data and analysis. Think of Jungian psychoanalysis, evidence-based medicine, market research, and consumer behavior analysis. It's all about dissecting information and finding clarity through direct answers. The way we organize data in our brain very often is not our conscious choice, until it is, and that is the beginning of unlimited perception. Understanding these cultural perspectives opens up a new way of seeing the world. Consider this: the brain's ability to recognize patterns is the same ability that led to the creation of art, music, and even scientific breakthroughs. The patterns in the stars guided ancient sailors across vast oceans. The patterns in DNA unlocked the secrets of life itself. You have the same innate ability to see these patterns and use them to guide your own journey. Let's do a little experiment. Think about a challenge you are facing right now. Maybe it's a problem at work, a personal goal, or a relationship issue. Now pause and look at it through the lens of patterns. What recurring themes do you notice? What similarities does the situation have with past experiences? How can recognizing these patterns give you new insights and solutions? All thought patterns become recognizable when you focus on thoughts and emotions that repeat themselves. Therapists use this technique all the time to improve a patient's control over stress and circular thinking. We people do not grow absolutely chronologically. We grow sometimes in one dimension and not in the other. Unevenly. We grow partially. We are relative. We are mature in one realm and childish in another. The past, present, and future mingle and pull us backward, forward, or fix us in the present. We are made up of layers, cells, constellations. Besides the influence of culture on our pattern-seeing style, there is also our character in play. Pattern recognition is not so much of a skill, it is a vision, a filter through which you comprehend the world. The things you see outside are seen through your pattern filter. To understand what type of filter you have, there are various projective psychological tests. Most famous of them is Rorschach test, created by Swiss psychologist Hermann Rorschach in 1921. It consists of 10 ink bolts printed on cards. 5 cards are black and white, and the other 5 are colored. During the test, a subject is shown each card and is asked to describe what they see. The responses can give you an insight about your mind filter. By doing this test, you clearly see how your mind is wired to find meaning and order in ambiguous or chaotic stimuli. We people project ourselves onto the observed world. Apophenia is the human tendency to perceive connections and patterns in everything. The Rorschach test leverages this tendency, as individuals often see animals, people, and objects in the ink bolts, which are essentially just random shapes. Different people see different things in the same ink bolt, reflecting their unique ways of interpreting patterns. This subjectivity is crucial for psychologists to understand how individuals perceive and organize their world. Understanding the nature of your own perception filter will give you the power over a vast realm of patterns. What stops us from having a peaceful family dinner can be as simple as not being aware of our innate filter or not noticing the recurring themes. In the next video, we will go into the phenomenon of strange loops.